The more Matt Eberflus talks, the more that Chicago Bears fans completely are over his shit. We're going to talk about his latest blunder of a comment in regards to the challenge. We're also talk about the Bulls reaching a new agreement with Arlington Heights. Plus, we're going to dive a little bit into the mailbag. All that and more right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bears Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bears news and content.
What's going on, Bears fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bears Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related. I'm the host there, Haize, but more importantly, you guys can follow the channel at Chi Bears Central on every social media platform we happen to be on. With that said, let's go ahead and get into this content for today, y'all. And so Matt Eberflus had yet another excuse that has completely got him getting flamed up between Bulls social media and Bulls analysts. He was talking about his challenge play call, and he said this. First of all, I threw the challenge flag because it was an explosive play. It was 69 yards, and our defense did a wonderful job at stopping them there for a field goal. I was really pleased with that part of it. But again, when it's an explosive, we want to make sure that we want to throw that flag. And again, I understood sideline cameras, all that. They've done a good job of replay assisting, coming in and working with that. But I think it's always warranted a challenge when you got that big of a game. If it was 6 yards, no one would care. If it was 15 yards, I don't think you would care. But 70 yards, it's worth it, even if we don't have to have the best look we want to have. So the reasoning, it was an explosive play, so he threw the challenge. And here's the thing. I'm not mad at the challenge per se, right? Yeah, I think that it was a clear, catch on the sideline. It is what it is. But you threw it not because you thought that it was out of bounds. Not because you thought that the play call would change, but just because it was a big play. And again, it's just the explanation behind it. Like, if you want to challenge, you want to challenge it. But when you already think that, or saying that you have the best angle of it when it comes down to it, and you did not think it was going to be overturned, but basically you just challenge it because it was a big play, it's just more stupidity on the side of Matt Eberflus. And there's more things that people are going to, of course, jump on at this time period. I've said it before many times. When it comes down to it, at this point, I don't think Matt Eberflus could do anything right in the mind of Bears fans. And here's the thing. It just is what it is when it comes down to that. Every time Matt Eberflus talks, you wonder more and more why he ever became a head coach in this league. It just is what it is when it comes to, and that's the bigger thing here, right? Challenging the player, not cool. It's not a big deal. It is what it is when it comes down to it. But it's just that every time this guy talks, you're sitting there afterwards, and it's like a 10-second of silence where you have to look at it and think, oh, so you really are stupid. You really are just, and that's the overarching thing in this, is that there are absolutely no, I want to be clear here. Let me say this again so I can be adamant about it here. There are no redeeming qualities about Matt Eberflus as a head coach. There are none. That's it. There are none. We've talked about the defense being on the slide, the defense giving up big plays. Well, at one point in time, it was the motivator. He was somebody who really believed in the players, and he was motivated, and the guys believed in him. That seems to go away. At this point, you're looking at Matt Eberflus, and you're wondering, if the Bears were to try to keep Matt Eberflus, why? What are you possibly looking at that is improving, or he's adding to this? The damage is done. The damage is done. He's not effective with challenges. He can't win close games. The communication issues on and off the field are bad. The defense has been spiraling as of late. He's conservative in situations that we need a more aggressive coach. Like I called him before, Flusy Pussy, Flusy Coochie is what I called him, because he calls plays. He everything about him is that he's a pussy when it comes down to it. And I know that that's kind of harsh to say and maybe a little too vulgar for some people, but right now, I'm going to let you know, I don't give a shit. I don't care. Like, it's time for Matt Eberflus to go, is what I said. At one point in time, the biggest thing that you could say with Matt Eberflus, and a lot of people, raised a fair question when I said in yesterday's episode, like, yeah, he's a solid defensive coordinator. He's going to go on and be someone. They're like, well, hell, is he? Is he? Because it seems like things are going to – the Bears' defense has been getting torched in some of the most important moments. And while, yes, there are some failures from the performance of the players on the field, like, it's just everything this year, right? And for it, I'm actually – you know what I'm going to say? I'm appreciative of the way the season went, because this season ripped away any and every semblance of any hope that Matt Eberflus could be the head coach of this team to help turn this team around any further. Did this season complete? And that's, you want to, I said coming into the season, you want to eliminate as many questions as possible. And one of the questions there is Matt Eberflus is not the guy. No, Matt Eberflus is not a good head coach. No, Matt Eberflus is not going to be the one with the right coordinators that can turn this thing around. The answer to that has been an adamant no, it's done. And so I hope that after Thursday's game on Thanksgiving, Black Monday comes around and it's time for Matt Eberflus to go. And I know it's probably not going to happen. I want to be clear. I have a hope that it's going to happen, but I don't think it will happen. But when you look at what Matt Eberflus has brought or lacked to bring to this team, it's just done. And I'm glad that at this time, right, that thanks to Thomas Brown, that as Matt Eberflus, the problems of Matt Eberflus have been made more vibrant, is that one thing that's also been made more clear is that, listen, Caleb Williams is the guy here. He's the guy here. Is it all perfect yet? No. But he is the guy here. He's the quarterback. We got ourselves a quarterback, and I'm not mad at that. And maybe we got ourselves our future offensive coordinator as well in Thomas Brown. It really does depend on what the head coach does, right? And we'll talk a little bit about that. But overall, listen, we have weapons. Thomas Brown has re-solidified the fact that this Bears team has weapons. Right now, and he's called it in a way to where he's able to maximize those weapons even despite the limitations of this offensive line. And that's one thing you can't be mad at all. But when you look at it, and yes, this defense is missing Ed Billings. We're missing Jaquan Brisker. Those are two guys really important to what the Bears have done. Everything that we have seen, any type of positivity, any glimpses of hope that were there for Matt Eberflus at the start of the season have been utterly and clearly ripped away, and it's time. And you know, like I said, I am appreciative of that. I'm hugely appreciative of that, because this way there's not any questions. This way, hopefully nobody's clamoring for, if you're at this point at the end of the season or whenever Matt Eberflus is removed, you're clamoring and saying, oh, Matt Eberflus should have got more time. I got to start questioning what the hell you looking at in your sanity. Not just your football IQ, not just your football acumen, not just how much you love the Bears. I got to question your outright sanity, if that's the case of it. And I, for one, am glad that when Matt Eberflus is removed as head coach, there's not going to be anybody, for real, outside of some people who just like to be contrarians, because I know that y'all don't know, but in YouTube, we can see the history of every comment that y'all leave. And you contrarians that just like to, you just be opposite no matter what's happening. You even contradict yourself when you look at comments you made 3 months ago just so you can be a contrarian. There are going to be some of you guys still left there that just like to be that, and that's fine. You're stupid. But at the end of the day, like, I'm just happy that one thing that Bears fans can be unified in, regardless of how we think about Caleb, regardless of how we think about the defense, regardless of anything, we can be unified in the fact that it's time for Matt Eberflus to go. Nobody's going to miss him, getting the hell up out of town, and it is what it is. And if Ryan Poles miss him, fuck him too. So that's what I got to say on that one. Is that a high horse thing? Maybe. I don't give a fuck. But it is what it is, and it's time to just move on from Matt Eberflus. And that's just what it comes down to. And thank you. And Thomas Brown has been a revelation, really, just in his play calling, in his discernment, everything about this team, and it's been great to see. Now, one of the questions coming into the season as well, after a whole press conference and everything this offseason, is what is going on with the Bears' new stadium. It gained some clarity, but still some not. So after over a year of debating with Arlington Heights, it looks like the school districts and everybody has come to an agreement on the property taxes for the Chicago Bears' potential new stadium. This is one of the hurdles. This is one of the reasons why the Bears even pivoted to going back to staying downtown and things like that. So it comes down to it. But the Bears aren't necessarily immediately pivoting out of trying to do it. A release came out yesterday, said this: the Bears remain focused on investing over $2 billion to build a publicly owned enclosed stadium on Chicago's lakefront, while reevaluating the feasibility of a development in Bronzeville. That being said, we remain significant landowners in Arlington Heights, and establishing a framework for potential future development planning, financing, and property tax certainly has been a priority since the land was purchased. We continue to have productive conversations with the village and school districts and are aligned on a framework should we choose to explore a potential development. So it looks like the Bears, okay, they got the tax breaks that they're looking for in the land that they purchased out in Arlington Heights. That was really kind of one of the last hurdles when it came down to it. And so now the Bears have to make a decision, right? It seems like the Bears really are committed. Kevin Warren has tried to get done a good job at getting close to the mayor on top of that. But when it comes down to it, listen, if things can't happen there, the reason why the Bears originally wanted to go out to Arlington Heights was so they can have a whole epicenter there, meaning that hotels, restaurants, everything, all on land that they own, which is a huge revenue getter for the Chicago Bears, and also just something that, more and more NFL teams are trying to build up and own the land around their stadiums as well to just make it more of a profitability for them. And the Bears, who haven't owned outright Soldier Field ever, would get more of the proceeds in that case, right? So now the Bears have a question that they have to ask themselves is, this continues to go on with the city of Chicago, if it continues to fail or look like it's not going to be productive for them, they can pivot back to Arlington Heights now, knowing that the property tax situation that's there, that hurdle has at least been cleared as of right now. And so the Bears are probably going to continue for a while, maybe even for another year, to try to make some headway on this this lakefront stadium that they want to build that was proposed there. But I would not be surprised if by this time next year, maybe even before, it could happen even before, that they decide to pivot and go in a different direction to where they decide to go back to Arlington Heights. So we'll see. But this is another negotiating chip in the pocket of Kevin Warren. This is another thing that when he does go to negotiate with the city of Chicago and the state of Illinois, that he has this in his back pocket. So we'll see how he uses this. The stadium has been one of his focuses here, even though I still say that we kind of need Kevin Warren to kind of be a little bit more hands-on in the offseason of this as well. But at least the stadium is gaining a little bit more clarity, and we'll see what is happening. But with that said, before we can jump into a couple of voicemails today, Ryan Poles lost a member of his front office staff. J.J. Kosh has left the Chicago Bears to go to Georgia Tech and be their executive associate athletic director for player management. And so this is something that has raised some eyes and it made some people ask, are parts of Ryan Poles' staff ready to start jumping ship? Now, it's not anything major right now, but when you look at Kosh, he joined Chicago in 2018. He was a scouting assistant. Ryan Poles promoted him in 2022 to be the pro scout and manager of football administration. And it seemed like he was somebody who was on the upward trajectory to work himself through that front office of the Chicago Bears. But now he leaves to a college that he's not associated with. He actually went to college at Notre Dame, and he went to the Naval Academy, the United States Naval Academy. So this isn't something that he outwardly had some ties to. It just seems like he got out of Dodge. And there are going to be some storylines and some ways that stories are trying to turn this to mean that, hey, people may be getting out there. Maybe there's some uncertainty on what could happen with the Chicago Bears front office. Here's what I'm going to say. Could it mean that? It could. Could it also be nothing? Yes. Is it probably nothing? It's probably nothing to worry about. This is not like it's like Ian Cunningham leaving or anything like that. This is a guy that most Bears fans, I'm going to be clear here, have probably never heard his name before this report came out. And most of the reporters have never heard that are now trying to say, oh, Eric Lambert's the one. Oh, listen, he lost a key assistant. Is he a key if we never heard his name? Not to say that he hasn't been there and he hasn't been in the in the background there, but to say that it's a key, I don't necessarily look at that. But again, I wanted to report on it. Number one spot for everything Chicago Bears. So we got to report on everything with the team. But it be on the lookout for something. If we start losing a lot of members to that front office for the Chicago Bears and on Ryan Poles' staff, just be on the lookout for that. Now that is something to look out for. It could be something. It's probably nothing, but just keep an eye on that and see how that develops over time. But all right, with that said, let's go ahead and get into the voicemails that we got today. You guys know at the beginning of the week, I like to, especially, it's a game on Thursday, mailbags Friday and Saturday, so we may have to clear this out because it's going to be a game by the time it's mailbag day again. But let's get into these voicemail. This one's from Brad.
What's going on, gentlemen, friends? This is your boy Brad from Northern California by way of Chicago. Listen, I haven't even pulled the trigger on buying my tickets for this Bears at 49ers game because I'm at the point where I can't even be mad at this team no more. It's not even worth my mental effort to be mad at this team for doing what they do. For some reason, they seem to always find incredible, improbable, unfathomable ways to creatively lose games. I mean, it starts at the top with shitty ass Matt Eberflus. And I called and said probably a month and a half ago, even before the bye, I said he got to go because he going to eventually lose this team and players' careers and livelihoods are at stake with this dumb motherfucker standing up there saying the same shit every week, looking defeated. He knows he's not a head coach. And that's the sad part is they keep letting this dude walk up in there and say the same shit, knowing that he should be fired. In normal organizations, he would have been fired. And first of all, normal organizations wouldn't have gave him this much rope to hang himself with. However, the bright side of this is Caleb Williams looked better, exponentially better with Thomas Brown. Now, I don't even know if Thomas Brown's going to be around next year. And that's the sad part in that is that this dude interviewed for the job, didn't get it, brought in shitty-ass, dumb-faced Shane Waldron, and we had the dude behind him that unlocked the quarterback. That's Chicago Bears organization for you right there. But anyway, let's move forward. Let's build around Caleb. I'm going to try to be positive, but this is going to be a long rest of the season because I honestly don't see us beating anybody until next season, 2025, when we start a new season. But man, y'all, it's rough, but I'm going to keep the faith. Y'all, happy holidays to you and yours. If you celebrate, bear all the way down. My brothers, be well.
Bears finding creative ways to lose is the perfect way to word that. Like, it's just continues to be another thing one week after another where the Bears just lose games in the most creative fashion possible. You are absolutely right there, Brad, that the way that the Bears lose at this point, it's comical. It's really comical at this point that the Bears continue to lose games in the manner in which they are. But again, I think that is indicative of who their head coach is. Matt Eberflus is an idiot. So, of course, the Bears are going to lose ways in creative ways because that's the one thing that Matt Eberflus can get the most creative about is how to lose games because he can't get creative on how to win them. So he's getting creative on how to lose them. And listen, if you're going to go out, at least go out and making history in some type of way, I guess. I don't know what to be said there, but listen, I'm over Matt Eberflus. I'm at my wits' end with Matt Eberflus. I was all for him getting another chance with making improvements, changing the staff, and I got to admit that. And I was fucking wrong. I was wrong when it came down to it. The Bears should have moved on from him last offseason. But when it comes down to it, he's here for now. Hopefully that for now has 7 days. Like that's all that we have left with Matt Eberflus here. Maybe not even then. Let's hope that it's 5 days. Matt Eberflus got to go. And that's the thing that I'm going to keep. That's going to keep being the prevailing thought for me. That's going to keep being my prevailing statement and stance on this is that it's time for Matt Eberflus to get the fuck out of Dodge. Yes, Thomas Brown has been better. Yes, Caleb Williams has looked better under Thomas Brown. Yes, this offense overall has looked better under Thomas Brown. And you got to love what they're doing here. And you're right. It is time to build around Caleb Williams. That just is what it is. It's time to build around Caleb. And that's it when it comes down to it. Like, I'm going into this offseason, as long as they fire Matt Eberflus, I'm going into the offseason with a positive mindset that we're going to come out of this. And maybe next year can be the year that we were hoping this year was going to be after a year under his belt with Caleb and, us bringing in a new head coach that's not a fucking idiot. All those things are there. And at the remainder of this season, like I said, it's just about development for Caleb Williams, this offense, continue evaluating these pieces so the Ryan Poles can see it. And then Ryan Poles got to get to work, or Ryan Poles is going to be the work, meaning that he's going to be up out of here soon too if he can't turn this thing around, because now we're at the place where we need to be getting over that hump and we need to be competing. That's the part, and not competing for a title, but playoff games. That's what this next phase should be. We got a quarterback, we got weapons, we got a solid defense, win healthy. We still got some things we need to work on that defense as well. But here's the thing I'll tell you, we are a lot closer than what we were the year before. And I think getting the right head coach alone gets us a lot closer. You fix that offensive line, you bring some more depth here in the secondary, because as we see, we got some major injury concerns and things can go a big different way. I'll get a pass rusher in here as well. I came into initially saying, well, maybe we don't have to address the pass rush, but I think one thing that's been clear, we got to address the pass rush because we got to free up Montez Sweat to do a little bit more. That's my opinion. You guys can let me know how you feel down below. All right, let's get into the last voicemail for today. This one's from Ja.
Oh, fellas, what's good? Hey, it's Ja from Arizona, man. I just want to say we got us one, fellas. We got us a quarterback. That's the one. I'm glad Thomas is in there doing his damn thing, making Caleb look like Caleb. That's the USC Caleb that we thought we was gonna get, that we seen the other night. But look, check this out, y'all. I'm trying to make this quick. So I think, one, we should keep Thomas Brown as the offensive coordinator. I'm not saying promote him up to head coach. Maybe there's other options out there. We definitely need to explore them all. Matt Eberflus, gotta go. No excuse. No, there ain't even nothing. I don't know what we're talking about at this point. It's stupid. It's dumb. But Caleb Williams is definitely that guy. Keenan Allen. I know everybody's saying that we're moving on from him, but if Caleb got any say-so, I don't know about that, brothers, because it looks like that's his favorite target. And, I mean, let's be honest. Keenan Allen ain't washed up. He may be expensive, a big paycheck or something like that, and maybe that's why he moved. But something like that, I don't see why Caleb will want to even move on from Keenan Allen. That's a good little third down target right there, man. And he's a vet. He's proven. Got DJ Moore. I know it's the best option, may I say, to even go down the wide receiver lane next year. Maybe just beef up on that O-line and that D-line, man. That's just my opinion. But what do y'all think? What do y'all think, man? Chicago up, but bear down, baby.
Yeah, we got a quarterback. And that's a great thing to be able to say, because how often have we been able to say? Never. We've thought we've had one. We've had glimpses. We've had the framework of a quarterback, but we've never really had one. And it does seem like Caleb Williams. I've watched the tape breakdown of Caleb and his process and his arm strength throws that he made. Caleb Williams is going to be really, really good. I have my faith in that. I think he's going to be a really damn good quarterback. We just got to help along that development. And somebody like Thomas Brown as the offensive coordinator and play caller over these last weeks has done that. Now, will Thomas Brown stay on? It goes back to what I said in yesterday when I had a similar question, is that it really comes down to who you're bringing in as the head coach, because that head coach could have a completely different view on this offense to what Thomas Brown comes from, right? And the methodology there. Now, the Bears have almost exclusively wanted to stay in the same style of offense because I think that's the modern offense. So maybe Thomas Brown could stay on there. But it really comes down to two things. Who the head coach is. Does the head coach want to keep Thomas Brown on? Because I would hope. Here's the thing. I'm going to say this, and this may be controversial. I don't know this. If the Bears bring in a head coach that isn't adamant about getting to choose his staff, he's the wrong guy. I don't want another head coach that comes in here and the Bears are like, yeah, but, we're keeping on Thomas Brown. He's like, oh, okay. No, the next head coach that we bring in, I need them to be such a leader that they say, hey, I want to completely have every decision with my staff. Now, if they keep an open mind, I want them to keep an open mind and keep Thomas Brown to interview them, but I don't want to have a head coach that comes in here and is just going to be like, oh, yeah, we can keep whoever you want us to keep on. No, I want them to bring in their guys. Now, Thomas Brown has shown the skill, the flexibility, the leadership where he should be able to be one of those guys, but it comes down to that. The second thing it comes down to is, does Thomas Brown want to stay? The moment Matt Eberflus is fired, he's opened up to go interview other places and other teams, other opportunities can come knocking, and he may get a better opportunity that he feels is better suited for him to where he doesn't want to stay. So those are things that you have to look at for as far as Thomas Brown staying on as the next offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears, in my opinion. As far as Keenan Allen, I think it comes down to money. Keenan Allen's going to want that money. If he's willing to take a team-friendly contract, great. But the Bears are going to have to invest heavily in that offensive line. Now, that may come via mainly the draft, but if they have to go after a veteran, a key veteran that's actually going to help this offensive line, those guys are expensive. And so when you already have DJ Moore and Rome Odunze, I think, having a third wide receiver like Keenan Allen becomes a luxury, especially depending on what type of money he wants. So that's the thing that really plays a part into that. But we'll see ultimately what comes along there. But that's my thoughts, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys are following the show at Shy Bear Central. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns. ChicagoBearCentral@gmail.com. Lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail for the mailbag, the number to do so, 773-242-9336. We are the number one spot for everything Chicago Bears related, but that's thanks to you lovely and beautiful people. And like I like to end every episode on, Chi-Town up, but bear down. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.